Pues vamos a ver qué continúa la historia.
I wonder if we can use this. A fish! You saw it too, right?
Creo que la que pesca es ella, ¿no? Entonces, vamos a
I
tener
didn't realize
tutorial.
there was a pond here.
Hay muchos ponds. Empezamos como 2
this
minutos.
is Taka Pond. And it happened to have saved my life once upon a time.
What do you mean?
As a kid, I survived life under the past lords by escaping here when I needed to. It's terrible to swim in, but great for catching a bite for dinner away from Ren and eyes.
Bear in mind, our rations back then weren't enough to live off of. You had to take matters into your own hands if you wanted enough food to survive.
But how did you catch them? With your bare hands?
That might take a while. Fish are prone to swim away at the first sign of trouble.
Obviamente no.
I'd put bait or a lure on a line
Ajá.
and use it with a fishing rod.
Necesito
You
aprender
must
cómo
not
hacer.
be familiar with fishing if this sounds new to you. Here, let me show you how it's done. Now where might those fish be? Okay, change of plans. Yeah! Time to try a different spot. I've got something. Good fishers always keep their cool. All right. She's got a good size to her, all told.
That fish put up a fight. Good catch.
¿Cómo se llama? De pesca.
And that's all there is to it.
Wow. It seems like you need to have good reflexes to catch anything. I don't know if it's really for me. Kisara? I think I've seen enough.
Le gusta.
Oh, sorry. I guess I'm just in my own little world when I go fishing.
Looks like we're going to be here for a while.
That's how fishing goes. You wait for a bite, and then the real battle begins.
Miguel told me that different fish live in different regions, and you have to pick the right rod and lure for what you're
Pues se
hoping
ve
to
que
catch.
es bastante complejo.
But that doesn't change the fact it's a giant time sink.
Of course, each fish has its own unique flavor, too. And some of them are supposed to be extremely delicious.
When you put it like that, maybe it's worth me trying my hand at fishing after all.
You're
La
just in
come.
it for the food.
I was hoping we'd get to fish during our travels. And it just so happens I made sure to grab my brother's old rod before I left Vicente.
Ay,
So, if
únicamente.
you ever feel like fishing when we've got a little downtime, just let me know.
Good to hear. Thanks for showing us.
Buena idea.
Okay!
I'm always amazed what healing arts can do.
Just doing my job. No need to thank me. I hate camping.
What the fuck? ¿Por qué nadie habla?
Is it just me, or have those two barely spoken a single word to one another?
I know, right? But after everything that happened with Miguel, is it really any wonder?
Kinda puts a damper on the whole journey, though, huh? How long do you think they're gonna keep this up?
If it bothers you that much, why don't you ask them?
Why do I have to ask?
How come you walk together like that?
She really doesn't beat around the bush.
You mean Kisara and myself?
You hadn't noticed? You've been practically joined at the hip ever since we left Vicente.
I guess it's force of habit, most likely. I was always ready to protect him, should the need arise. It sort of came with the job description.
Right. From being in the Elder Menancia Guard. Although, Dohalim's pretty capable of defending himself, isn't he?
Having guards doesn't necessarily mean the one being guarded is weak. No one's perfect all the time.
Even so, it's not like they're entirely wrong, Kisara. You're no longer in my employ, after all.
I don't know. I mean, if it's what she's used to and you're both comfortable with it, then who are we to judge?
But she doesn't serve him anymore. It isn't normal for her to keep following him around like she still does.
You know, she's probably right. And a lot has changed over the last few days. I guess it wouldn't hurt to rethink our relationship in light of the new circumstances. Perhaps I'll give it some thought after all. Does that sound all right by you?
Of course.
You might want to stop asking his permission for every little thing while you're at it.
Sorry. It's not that easy, shaking off old habits. I'll probably need a little time to get fully used to it. I've noticed that sometimes we come across enemies who fight like you, and try to dodge our attacks at the last second.
I hate those guys. I can get some hits in when they move into attack, but otherwise they slip past damn near everything else I throw at them.
If what you're seeking is a way to more reliably hit them, there is a solution.
Try to outclass them on reflexes?
I possess the ability to command Earth elemental beings to some extent. They emerge as the land itself and take root on my command. They will swiftly bind the enemies, at which point you can dispatch them.
Huh?
What he means is that he can make plants grow to hold the enemies in place. At least I think that's probably what he's saying.
I'm glad at least one of us understands him. So basically, if we find an enemy that likes to dodge, we should let Dohalim handle it.
I shall do what I can within my modest means to help.
Why are you looking at me like that?
That armor you wear is standard issue for the Menancian Guard, right?
Originally, I've added some flair to it in a lot of places.
I noticed, especially with that open back.
We guardsmen pride ourselves on never showing our back to our enemies. It's my way of making myself live up to that. Plus, it makes it that much lighter and easier to maintain.
Dohalim, do you have anything to say about this?
Every guardsman is allowed to wear their armor as they see fit.
And you, La?
Huh? Why are you asking me?
I'll see you again tomorrow. Well, off we go.
Something feels odd here. Be on your guard.
I just noticed none of you other Danans have spirit cores. Why is that?
Both of my parents were part of the resistance in Calaglia. In fact, my birth was kept a secret from the Renans.
Mine too. We always lived in hiding, so I never had a spirit core embedded in me like I was supposed to.
What about you, Alphen? You were a slave in Calaglia before all this, weren't you?
To be completely honest, I'm not sure why I don't have one. All the other Danon slaves around me did. I was the only exception. They tended to keep their distance from me to avoid attracting any attention from the soldiers, because of my mask and all. What about you, Kisara? Do you still have your spirit core?
No. I was able to find a good Renin doctor who's sympathetic to our kind, and had them remove it before I left. They did such a great job, the procedure didn't even leave a scar.
One of the benefits of coexistence, huh?
I know that once the spirit vessel was shut down, there wasn't much need for me to hurry. But still, I didn't like having that mark of servitude lingering on me any longer than I had to. It may sound a little strange to hear me say this, but I'm just me now. Not a guardsman or a slave. I'm my own woman. And this is my chance to have a new beginning.
This sure is one rugged road. You'd think they'd keep this at least a little better maintained, right?
Why spend energy fixing that which is rarely used? Repairs require time and effort, which in our world means slaves, often in great numbers. For you, it may be a simple request, but that can quickly become another's difficult burden. Nobody gains anything without someone expending effort.
And you know, somehow that someone always ends up being a Danon, while the Renins are the ones who gain.
True enough. Ideally, in a perfect world, I think it's only fair that the ones who need it should be the ones to perform the work.
However, when doing so could be dangerous like it is here, there are many who would prefer that it be others who risk their lives in their stead.
So, what you're saying is that people will just put up with the inconvenience until someone else comes along to fix it for them?
Indeed. And it is those who can no longer bear that feeling that inevitably take action. Much like the Danons in our group do so now. As strange as it may be to hear such a thing from the likes of myself.
It's true that most of the Danons in Calaglia have been resigned to just accepting things as they are. Still, we can't just blame them for...
What are you making that face for? You're not worn out already, are you?
Nah, just regretting I ever said anything in the first place.
All right.
There's nowhere to run from my heart. When he slows down, that's our chance.
This one's mine! It's like trying to keep up with a wall! Tiger Blade!
Elusive deity!
Radiant Pierce! Mine! I'm out of ammo!
Take this!
Tiger Blade! Watch and sweep!
Begin! Good! Thrust in pain. Dragon Form!
Gemini Alpha!
Win! I'll face you!
Tiger
Leave the
Blade!
ensnaring to me!
Yeah! And tunnel it to me!
Can't get out of this!
Time to shine!
Now or never! Mega Sonic Thrust! Dragon Form! Deity! Severing Wind! Take that so fast! You're finished! Elusive Deity! I'm not done! Severing Wind! Take this!
Tiger Blade!
Negative gate! Resonate with the earth! Leave a last mine! Dragon Form!
Tiger Blade!
Win!
Mega Ray!
Take this!
On guard!
Resonate with the earth! get out of this! Here I come!
I'm out of ammo. I'm all
Dragon
built up.
Scorpion!
Annihilate!
Severing Wind!
Tiger
You're
Blade!
mine!
General!
Take this!
This one's
Tornado
mine.
drop!
Now you see what I
Do
can
it!
do!
Here I come!
Ringwell! Frozen!
Hammer!
Look sharp!
I'll thank you! In a bind!
Tiger Blade! Ready to go!
Ignite!
Look sharp!
I'm ready! Doubling! In an instant! Impact block!
Se parece al
Got some
Exo Strike
interesting moves there,
de
Dohalim.
Chrono Trigger.
I'm glad you're on our side.
I'm simply glad to hear that I can make myself useful to you all. Huh?
What's wrong?
We seem to have come across some rather unusual objects.
What, you mean that pile of garbage?
No mere garbage, I assure you. Still, I've never seen anything shaped like it before. I'm intrigued.
Are you curious about this stuff, Rinwell?
Yeah. I think he might have found some old Danon relics. They look like the remains of a bunch of objects that disappeared after the Renans first invaded.
And yet here I am, holding them without so much as a second thought. I imagine the sight must be unsettling to you.
Not really, just that it must be nice to be a Renan who has time to indulge in stuff like that, unlike the rest of us.
Are you interested in this stuff too, Dohalim?
Charmed may be a better turn of phrase. I simply love objects that can give me a sense of what their maker was thinking, the history that went into their creation. You see, we
Qué chistoso
Renans have hardly
como
any such objects
se
that trace
para
back
el
to our
Hurul
distant
encima.
past.
I still don't understand what you two find so intriguing about it, though.
Why not? We're talking about our own culture here.
I get that, but it's not like this stuff is any use now, does it? It's just old. Real old.
Oh, but it does. Holding it in your hands like this, one can feel and engage with the distant past in a way no history book can ever accomplish.
I'll take your word for it. Well, seeing as it's Danon history, just make sure you're careful with it. All right, Dohalim?
But of course.
I sense a strange power from this.
They really made us work for that one.
Visibility along this path will remain limited for some time. Take care not to get ambushed.
I'm surprised you know the terrain here so well. Lords don't strike me as having much time for wandering in the woods.
Sometimes I would take strolls along here when I wished to be alone.
You always did have a bad habit of disappearing without telling any of us guardsmen.
bad feeling about this.
This one's mine!
Salaaaaaa!
Don't mind if I do!
You're mine!
By the airborne beast! My special! Tiger Blade! Into the shadows!
Mirage!
Like moths to the flame.
Elusive deity! Eternal devastation! You're mother! Here I come!
Freeze Lancer!
It's over!
New army were interrupted. Well,
Frozen!
hammer.
My turn!
Here's the
You're
evil!
mine!
Look sharp.
Tear! Heal! Mirage!
I'm ready!
Wind!
Gone.
Coming through! Ha! Now! Scarlet Inferno!
You require a
Here I come!
This one's mine!
It's over!
in a bind.
A lord's power never ceases.
Formidable. I'm as regular as the next man.
I wonder if we can... It's so hilly around here. I can feel my feet getting blisters.
That's mountain hiking for you. It can be pretty tough if you're not used to these sorts of trails.
I take it you're comfortable with them then?
Don't get careless.
Don't tell me! Not today! I'm not actually sure you survived this. Flying freak! Why can't they just sit still? Sion, can you take care of them?
No sooner said than done! Leave the enemy's arch to me!
No complaints here!
Going in!
Can you take it?
Flaming meteor! Glacial spear!
Too fast!
Stand back. I'll trip it up.
That's it! Here I come!
Tiger
You're
blade!
finished!
Resonate with the earth.
It's too much!
You're helping me to become a path.
It's for the good of all of us.
Is it now?
I'll take you all on. Ha! Flare the Malisa! Far enough!
You're mine!
One more! Lunar Tiger blade!
Save you!
Watch and weep!
This one's all mine!
Another
You're
one
on!
is mine!
You picked the wrong
get
fight!
through this.
Don't let up until it's over!
Who said anything about letting
Here I
off?
come! You're finished!
I see it!
You're mine! Megatonic Thrust! Dragon Swarm!
Tiger blade!
Eternal Devastation! I'm ready! You're finished! Kisara! Commander of Heaven! Phoenix Cyclone! This should make for some good weapon crafting material.
Bad feeling about this.
Elusive deity! Here!
It's a duel of the arts!
You picked the wrong fight!
Pesky airborne scoundrel. Did you
Sounds
just
like a
heal
job
me?
for you. I need you, remember?
Right. Prepare to be seized, though fleet of foot. Actually, passing out is more appropriate.
Less talking, more doing.
Carve through armor! Hurricane Flood!
Stay calm. I shall provide assistance. In a bind.
Severing Wind! Hurricane Flood!
Glacial spear.
The enemy wields arcs too.
do
about that.
I'm ready!
Shield!
Go for it!
Prepare to crumble!
Think we overdid it?
Mega
Not by a long
Elusive deity!
Mega Ray!
Make it red!
Shield!
This one's got your name on it!
Ashes to ashes! Now!
Take
Lightning meteor!
Kaiowa!
Ready! Look sharp! Where are you going?
You picked the wrong fight!
Not in your dreams! Do it!
Light burst forth!
Radiant Genesis! Hey! Poodle's quivering! I think we're about to be real lucky!
And thus our strength yet grows. This one will be difficult to predict.
This one's mine!
Thank you!
I'm also doing the airborne target.
No further!
Going in!
Mega Ray!
You got fire!
I've got this! Let a marksman handle it!
All yours! Ignite the
Fear! Here's evil!
Take it!
Tell me about it later.
Blade Blazer!
I'll thank you! It's over! Elusive deity!
Make it red! I'll stop your movement!
And I'll stop your life! My turn! Take this!
Radiant
You're
Fire!
on! Going in the last floor! Negative! You're finished! Resonate with the earth! I'm ready! Blow them away!
Back into the fray!
This one's mine!
Make an escape! Resonate with the earth!
Nothing gets by me! The last one! Far enough!
Art expert,
I'm
coming
ready!
through!
I can feel my precision improving.
More Danon runes here too, I see.
What were people even thinking back then? Trying... to build anything around here.
Maybe they just had that much time and energy on their hands.
I have a bad feeling about this.
Anything in armor is all mine! Here I come! Elusive deity! Correct, this one's all mine! Can you take it? Eat this! Elusive deity! Can you take
Where
it?
are you going?
It's over!
I'm gone! Make it red!
Dragon! Commander of Heaven!
Phoenix Cyclone!
Did it!
Yeah! Nice technique!
Hurricane Thrust! You're finished! No further! I'm ready! Take your Sora! Commander of Heaven!
Phoenix Cyclone!
Now!
One more!
Stardust!
Make it red!
Shield!
This one's got your name on it!
Ashes to ashes!
That was way stronger than regular firepower.
You won't hear me complaining.
I sure have built up a sweat with this hike.
Rest assured. We have reached the top. It's all downhill from here, quite literally.
So Mahag Sar's just up ahead then?
Indeed. If you look, across this mountain is the Lord's Keep.
We're in for a long slog with this one!
Here's evil!
Here's
the evil!
Take this!
Flame
You're on!
Blazer!
You're mine! Elusive win!
Pieces! Tiger Blade!
Hurricane! You're on!
Here goes!
Negative gate! With the burn in hell! Take this!
Going in!
Dragon Storm!
Do it! Tiger Blade!
All yours, Kisara.
We did it!
Magnificently done.
I never miss! Going in!
Denied!
I'm ready! You're finished!
All yours, Kisara.
Hear me! Flame of Fury! Burning Strike!
You're quite the gunslinger.
I have to be. In this world.
Don't worry, I've got your back.
This one will be difficult to predict.
Dragon!
Not on my watch!
Begin!
Here!
Dragon Storm!
There! On guard!
Take this!
This one's all
Do
mine!
it! Astral Energy!
Say no more! Now!
Into the do it!
Blow them away!
Radiant Empire!
Severing Wind! Burn! Here I come!
On guard!
Here!
One more!
Tiger Blade!
Shattering
Pieces! Attack time! I'm ready!
Flame!
Time go! Soaring!
Don't mind if I do!
You're on!
I'm out!
I don't have much left.
With the earth!
Take this!
You're on!
Tiger Blade!
War!
Annihilation!
Megasonic
Flame
Thrust!
of Fury! Here's a healing art! First aid!
With the earth!
On guard!
Crush!
That's it! Tiger Blade!
Eternal devastation!
Mega Ray!
Denied!
Not so fast.
Make it rain!
Shield!
This one's got your name on it!
Ashes to action. My exploits are bearing fruit.
Through... Still thinking about how to act around Dohalim?
That obvious, huh? Except I don't think I'll be changing much after all. Don't get me wrong, I'm not going to stay his servant. However, I am going to treat him like a fellow comrade, the same way I would with you or anyone else. For as long as I can remember, I've spent my life protecting others. But isn't that what friends do too? Support and protect one another in times of need?
Which in the end pretty much means doing as you've always done, right? If that's what you're most comfortable with, I'm certainly not going to give you any grief over it.
Actually, I've been thinking about how I ought to act around you all as well.
Oh?
When I set out on this journey, it was to rid Eldaman and Sia of its enemies, and search for wisdom in the outside world. Wisdom that I could potentially put to use on my return. I'm grateful to you all for letting me tag along. But it got me thinking, what am I actually contributing by being here?
What are you talking about? You know how to hold a weapon, don't you? That's help enough.
Is it though? Sometimes I wish there was more I could be doing to pull my...
Oops, sorry about that. Jeez, I'm famished.
Now that you mention it, What do you guys normally do for food and meals when you're out and about on your travels?
What do you mean, what do we do? We find stuff to eat and eat it. So long as it's meat, I'm not fussy.
Eating what you like can be good for morale in the short term, but you need to think about your diet if you want to stay healthy.
Does that mean eating vegetables too?
Isn't that obvious?
It does, which I guess hasn't been happening up till now.
Yeah, to be honest, we could be eating better than we do.
Understood. In that case, I'll just have to make sure you're all staying healthy and eating right myself. Fortunately, I happen to know a thing or two about cooking as well.
You hear that, Law? Sounds like you'll be eating your greens after all.
Ugh.
What is it?
No, sorry, it's just... I was just wondering if you had any thoughts on all this.
It will do her good to have a project.
No, not Kisara. I meant you. Was there anything you wanted to add?
Me? Certainly you're not looking to me for culinary skill, I hope.
Typical Renan, leaving everything to someone else.
Rinwell, I don't think...
That said, should you need my skills on the battlefield, please rest assured I have no intention of shirking my responsibilities, regardless of who we may face.
No tiene
I'm sure no one doubts that. Listen, guys, if we're traveling together, we should probably at least try to make an effort to get to know one another, don't you think?
I wouldn't get your expectations too high in that regard. Believe it or not, sometimes I'm not sure I even know myself all that well.
Something wrong? You look like you're deep in thought.
Not exactly. I was merely thinking about you two and your sense of etiquette.
Oh?
Etiquette?
Indeed. To be quite frank, I find your lack of manners to be nigh intolerable.
That's not being frank, that's being and forget it. Do we really need to talk about this now?
Yes, I find such impropriety on your parts to be deeply unsettling. It concerns me greatly.
What do you want us to do? We were slaves. We never got to learn how to be proper like you.
Yeah, what he said. Maybe you missed how we were just focused on surviving.
Perhaps, but Kisara here demonstrates that it's quite possible for a Denon to learn proper manners.
That's because I was given the opportunity to learn. Moreover, my duties as a guardsman required it. Not every realm is like Menancia, as you well know.
Yeah, I don't think it's fair to hold us to some other city standards.
Exactly. You've got to remember what it's been like for us living under the Rena elsewhere.
I will concede that you do indeed make a valid point. It would appear, for all my espousing the virtues of equality between our peoples, I was still looking down on the two of you.
You don't need to beat yourself up. I wasn't that offended by what you said, man.
Nevertheless, I shall mind my words from here on out. Having said that, I do believe you two would still benefit from learning the basics of proper society. I would be more than happy to teach you both when we camp out, if you like.
Yeah, no, I'll pass. Acting all prim and proper isn't really my style.
If you say so. How about you, Law? Would you like to learn? Although I suppose my first task is to reform your attitude toward the idea of good etiquette.
You're not gonna let this go, are you?
Bueno, creo que vamos a terminar aquí en este punto. No quiero recuperarme, ir a los lugares a ver qué hay. Entonces vamos a terminar este pequeño trayecto. Bueno, pues cuídense mucho. Hasta luego.